All right, we're recording. All right, so first question. Can anyone tell me what they think the most common injury is on the body, or the location of the most common injury?
Your head. An ankle.
Ellie, an ankle. Good job. That's awesome. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Since how many of you guys want to be going to some kind of healthcare or anything like that? You might as well just raise your hand. You're part of the group. Okay, so all five of you. So basically, in healthcare, you're pretty much going to deal with a whole lot of ankle problems, whether it's chronic, acute, or anything like that. Acute is they just rolled it or they just broke it or something like that. Chronic is where they've been overusing it or it's been a problem that they've had for a long time. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the anatomy of the ankle. Yeah.
There's a little marker.
All right, so in the ankle, there are three bones that make up the ankle mortise, or basically the ankle joint. Do you guys know the names of any of those bones?
No.
No. But take a guess.
Big one. Oh, that's what I was thinking.
The ankle bone. All right, so the first bone that we're going to talk about is the tibia. So the tibia is.
I knew it.
Oh, and don't worry about these drawings. I don't know what they are. So anyway, the tibia is the thicker of the two bones that come down your shin. So that's the bone that you can feel right in the front, right in the anterior portion of your leg. That's the tibia. Now on the outside of your leg, you have this smaller, thinner bone that comes down just like that. And that's another good looking snake. So that's a fibula. So far we have the tibia and the fibula, and they both go down the front part of your leg. They are connected, but not in a way that most bones are connected. So looking at the elbow, you've got the humerus, which comes down. It's going to be a stick figure. And then you have the radius and the ulna that come off that. So they have little notches in these bones that kind of serve as grooves where the bones lie. These two bones, they don't really connect except for they touch a little bit here, and then down here they don't touch at all, but they're connected by a joint called a interosseous joint. Interosseous basically means in between bones. So it's just fibrous material that kind of holds them together. So the third bone that's in the ankle mortise is this little bone right here. This little bone is at the top of your ankle, and then in between these two bones I just told you, and it's called the talus.
Is that Jesse's golf ball?
No. Jesse's golf ball is the fibula. And it's also, okay, so when you get down here, now you've got three bones that are making the ankle mortise. So three landmarks that you want to look at whenever you're looking at someone's ankle are the malleoli and then the talus or the talar dome. Okay? So the medial malleolus or malleoli is going to be this bump right here. So if everyone feels down at their ankles, you feel on the inside, that's known as the medial side, you feel that bump, right? That's your medial malleolus. If you go to the outside of your ankle, you feel that same bump, that's your lateral malleolus. That's Ralph, good, exactly. So, Jessie named her golf ball the swelling injury. Anyway, the crowd is there. All right, so now we're getting into the foot. So the foot comes down, here's some toes. He has lots of them. Or she. So let's talk. It's okay. So now we're going to talk about the anatomical locations, okay? So whenever you look at a foot or you look at an ankle or you look at a leg or anything like that, you need to know these directions. So anything that's in front of the center of the limb that you're looking at, that's anterior direction. Anything that's behind, posterior. Anything that's on the inside is medial. Anything that's on the outside is lateral. When it comes to the foot, you have the top and bottom. So the way to discriminate between the two is the top is the dorsal, and the bottom of the foot is the plantar. Okay? So now that we've kind of talked about that stuff, let's talk about some of the common injuries that happen with the ankle. Most common injury, the one that I started off this whole lecture thing with, it's a lateral ankle sprain. And so that happens by stepping down and then having this part of your ankle roll inside this direction. So it comes this way and rolls, and then basically this bone could possibly touch the ground if you do it hard enough. So the dangers of that is it damages the ligaments on the inside. So ligaments are the connective tissue that connects bone to bone. Do you guys know the difference between tendons and ligaments? So if ligaments connect bone to bone, what do tendons do? Connect muscle to. Good, exactly. So basically, on the ankle, you have the majority of your injuries that happen to the 3 ligaments around the lateral portion of your ankle. Now, on this side, you have something called a deltoid ligament, like that, it connects and all that good stuff. There are 4 ligaments that take up the deltoid ligament. So who can tell me why they think that most ankle injuries happen on the lateral side? It's definitely easier for it to go that direction. But looking at your ankle and feeling around, why do you think that you have a higher tendency to go like that rather than like that?
Like what?
To go like this, an inversion ankle sprain, which is this direction, and then as opposed to going this way for an easier.
Because of your
Yeah, that could be an argument that you could make, but the majority of the reason is that if you feel down, the fibula goes lower, so the lateral malleolus goes lower than the medial malleolus. And so if you think about it, if it's like that, why would it roll this way where the foot is going into this bone that's lower? Instead, it can just roll across this bone that's going further down. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why the majority of the injuries happen there. The ligament that's most often affected, and Jesse, if you remember when I was doing, some of those tests on you, I kept pulling it forward. That tests this front ligament. And they all know about this, so I'm not hurting hip, I swear. Anyway, so that's this front, don't worry about it. Hip, we talked about that. Exactly, yeah. So that ligament that's hurt, or that we're checking for an injury to, is the ATF, or the anterior talofibular ligament. So all the ligaments that are inside the ankle, they're all named according to what bones they're connected, basically. Like behind is the posterior talofibular. It's all named just like that. So I'm going to show you guys a couple tests. So will someone give me their ankle? You can leave your shoe on. All right. So just sit up here and have your ankle hanging off.
Wait, can I just do my
Yeah, that's fine.
Wait, you want me to sit on here?
Sure. All right. So everyone grab around real quick and check this out. So have your ankle hanging off just a little bit. Good. All right. So the most common injury happens on the outside ankle, right? So we want to check the integrity of the ligaments that are on the outside. So some of the tests that we'll do is there's something called an anterior drawer. So you take the calcaneus of the ankle, which is the bone in the very back, you grab that, pull the tibia down, and you pull forward. And you see how much translation happens with the ankle to the leg. So that tests the anterior talofibular ligament. Now to test the calcaneofibular ligament, you're basically going to pull the tibia, hold the leg down, and you just bring the ankle in invert. Which doesn't feel good because that's the way that they just injured their ankle. But that's how you need to test the integrity. So you're looking for how far it stretches, and if there's an endpoint, or if the ankle just kind of keeps going. And if it keeps going, then you can basically assume that that's a grade 3 ankle sprain. So to finish off, I just said grade 3, so you guys can sit back down. Yeah, exactly. Basically an ankle or a fracture. So with those injuries, when you're looking at ligaments, there are 3 different grades for ligaments. Now I have blue now. So there's grade 1. Grade 1 is basically just a stretching or a pulling of the ligament. So basically if you did that test, you wouldn't notice any further translation than regular. So then you got grade 2.
Wait, I have a question.
What?
If it's grade 1, then how do you know?
Basically,
Grade 1.
if there's like swelling that accumulated or something hurt when they rolled their ankle and it still hurts, then you can assume that there's some kind of damage to the ligaments. Between a grade 1 and a grade 2. Because she didn't have laxity, but there's a good amount of swelling. So there's definitely an injury there. But there's no laxity compared to the opposite leg or to the opposite ankle. So you can assume that there's not much tearing or actual stretching of the ligament that happened. Does that make sense? And finally, grade 3, which is like we talked about.
Wait, you didn't talk, you never talked about
Grade 2 is actual tearing. That's what I was just saying. So if it kept going, and you could feel that there was a little bit, it's a soft end feel, so like the ankle could keep going, but you would have to force it, then that would be a grade 2. Now grade 3 is where you move the ankle inversion, and it just keeps going. I don't think you would do a circle because there's a leg there. But anyway, so that finishes up. Does anyone have any questions?
Where does grade 3 start?
Where does grade 3 start?
Like when you're like turning.
So basically, It's where you don't feel a stop. So like if you can move the ankle and it just keeps going and going, there's a point where you're going to say, okay, I don't want to move this ankle anymore because I'm going to do damage. That would be a good thing. Yes. But that's it. Thank you guys.